You got a 570 on your account transcript, and it turns out that you had an error on your tax return, so you filed an amended return. It has been processed, and the adjustments have posted to the account. When will you get your refund? Let's talk about it. My name is your tax instructor, Sean. I am a personal tax professional, return resolution specialist, educator, and ex-IRS employee. I teach tax law and IRS processing procedures. And today we're going to talk about the time frames associated when you file an amended return when there's already a hold on your refund. To break down the time frames, we're going to walk through this account transcript. So we see that a tax return was received and processed and posted to the account on February the 24th. As we see, on the same day, the Internal Revenue Service also posted the code 570, additional account action pending, which we all know means the refund is being held. That 570 came along with the code 971, showing that they issued out a letter, the CPO 5, and that letter informs the taxpayer that their refund is being held for a review. The CPO 5 letter does say to allow 60 days, but if you call customer service, they're going to tell you to allow 120 to 180 days from the date of that notice. If you haven't received the notice, then you're going to allow that time frame from the date next to the 971 code. So according to our example, this is going to take this taxpayer out to at least July 1st, but as far as August the 30th. But in our example, our taxpayer was proactive and they found their error and they sent in an amended return that posted to the account on February the 28th. And amended returns have their own time frame. Amended return time frame is 16 to 20 weeks for processing. So in this example, the time frame will go for at least June the 20th, but as far out as July the 18th. Now, the first thing a lot of people ask me is, will it take that long? And the answer is I really can't say because the process happens differently for everyone. The important thing to remember is the Internal Revenue Service isn't going to take any action if nothing has happened, if those timeframes haven't passed. But as we see in our example, the amended return has processed. There has been adjustments made to the account, and it looks like that took place on May the 12th. So now that it's completed, when will our good friend get their refund? This is the part nobody likes. Now remember, the 16 weeks for the amended return isn't reached until we get to June the 20th. So if you call and ask about the status of this amended return, don't be surprised if that representative still quotes you that time frame. Because just because the amended return shows it's completed doesn't mean that they have to jump to any actions if that time frame hasn't passed. And you're probably going to receive that CP21 letter that's telling you that they've made the adjustments to your account based on the amended return that was received and to allow 2 to 6 weeks. But we can't forget about that 570 up there. It's still open. It hasn't been closed. And if you recall, the time frame for the 570 was at the minimum July 1st, but could be as long as August the 30th. With all that being said, when will you get the refund? And the short answer is, it's when that 570 closes. So just to be clear, just because you filed an amended return and you see that amended return has processed and the account has been adjusted, that doesn't mean that the 570 is going to automatically close. The 570 is handled by one department and that amended return is handled by another. Processing teams that process the amended returns cannot close the 570. So that means after your amended return is done processing, it gets transferred over to the department that's holding that refund to see if it satisfies whatever issues or questions that they may have. When should you call and check on the status? I know my good friends, y'all ain't gonna worry about no time frames, y'all gonna call anyway, but I'm gonna tell you when you should call if you're looking for some actions to be taken if nothing has been done. You should call when the time frames expire. Anytime you're dealing with any situation, if the time frames have not expired, the Internal Revenue Service is not going to take any actions. And that is why I recommend that you allow those time frames to expire and then give a call. Because if there are any actions for them to take, then they'll be able to take those actions because procedures will allow them to do so. If you would like a review or a walkthrough of your tax return to get a better understanding of what's taking place with your processing, you can book with your tax instructor, Sean, via the link in the description.